At 25 meters down, off Japan's western edge, the seabed does something unnerving. It stops behaving like sea floor and starts behaving like intention. Broad steps descend into blue water. Terraces break at angles that look almost rehearsed. A diver rounds the rock and finds what appears to be a staircase built for giants. Yonaguni's monument does not first feel like archaeology. It feels like the moment geology is caught impersonating architecture, or architecture is caught trying to pass as geology. The place sits off Arakawa Bana on Yonaguni, the last inhabited island in Japan before Taiwan. The currents are fast, the visibility can be deceptive, and in winter, the surrounding waters draw schools of hammerhead sharks. In 1986, local diver Kihachiro Aratake was scouting new shark diving ground when he noticed the formation and began calling the area Iseki Point, Ruins Point. Even Masaaki Kimura, the marine geologist who became its chief defender, said his first reaction had been that it might be natural. Then he dived it himself and changed his mind. Over the next decades, he mapped the site and described not just a monument, but a drowned civic landscape. Roads, canals, a stadium, temples, even something he compared to a sphinx. Kimura's own descriptions are part of why Yonaguni refuses to die. In his 2004 paper, the main structure stretches roughly 270 meters by 120, rising 26 meters high, with a 6-meter loop road bending near a right angle around it. He pointed to narrow drainage channels, a fan-shaped pool on an upper terrace, and a pallet-shaped stone revealed after a 1994 typhoon collapsed part of a retaining wall. On that stone, he argued, were two symbols, one like a cross, one like a V. Nearby, he claimed a carved animal, perhaps a wild boar, and farther away, a submarine figure he said resembled a moai. Later, quoted by Deutsche Welle, he said the site reminded him immediately of the pyramids, as if Yonaguni had briefly put ancient Egypt on the floor of the Pacific. And this is the problem. The monument is persuasive at human scale. A camera finds a stair. A diver touches an edge. The mind completes a civilization. But archaeology is not the study of persuasive silhouettes. It is the study of context. And context is where Yonaguni becomes difficult. No accepted inscriptions, no ceramics, no tools recovered in a way that settles the case, no buried streets turning up household debris, no harbor goods, no cemetery, no ordinary human mess. Japan's cultural authorities never recognized it as protected heritage. Even in 2007, tourists and researchers could simply dive the site because the district of Yonaguni officially owned the formations, and no preservation regime had closed around them. The strongest modern challenge comes not from debunking television, but from geomorphology. In 2024, Japanese researchers combined multi-beam bathymetry, long-term scuba observation, and a 1-centimeter underwater model built with a scanning robot named Murakumo. Their conclusion was cold and unromantic. The so-called ruins-like landforms are part of a broader sandstone coastal landscape. Around Yonaguni's west end and east coast, there are many flat-topped platform-like forms. The rock belongs to the Miocene Yaeyama group, cut by joints, weathered by exfoliation, abrasion, and ongoing erosion. The same processes also produce potholes, channels, crusts, and bored holes that skeptics such as Robert Schoch and Wolf Wichmann say are visible in plain sight. Yonaguni may be strange, but it may not be special. If Kimura were right, the consequences would be absurdly large. A man-made Yonaguni would push monumental construction in this region back before the accepted timelines for settled agricultural societies. That is why the argument lasts. Not because Atlantis sells, though it does, but because Yonaguni sits at the border where visual certainty outruns evidence. Compare it with real submerged sites like Pavlopetri or Thonis Herakleion, where streets come with artifacts, anchors, tombs, cargo, inscriptions, the bureaucratic clutter of actual lost cities. Yonaguni offers something harsher and more interesting, a machine for producing belief. Underwater, among the steppes and the blue silence, The rock keeps making its case. So does the science. Neither one has quite managed to finish the other off. If you liked what you watched, please like and subscribe. We post interesting and crazy stories from throughout history every Wednesday and Saturday. Yesterday's craziness? Because yesterday was crazy too.